To prevent genocide, in 1948, the so-called international community adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which says that all human beings are born free and equal. Rights are universal. They apply to every woman, man, child on the planet. The international community even created a new legal offense, crime against humanity, to address this crime committed by the German officer during the Holocaust. And the International Criminal Court is established in 1995 to hold individuals accountable for war crime or crime against humanity. Although many countries opt out of that international court, for example, the United States does not recognize its jurisdiction. But many people still condone torture, execution, poverty, and detention without charges. If human rights are universal, then why can't we achieve anything close to reality? In Afghanistan, for example, the U.S. took hundreds of prisoners to detention center on a U.S. military base at Guantanamo Bay. By holding the prisoner outside of the U.S. territory, the U.S. government avoided restrictions that apply under the U.S. law. President Barack Obama announced to reopen a revised type of military tribunal to recharge the detainees, while the U.S. Congress and the Senate vote down funding that would be required to close down Guantanamo Bay. Even the current Liberal leader in Canada, Michael Ignatius, and our own Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, do not seem to mind when the U.S. government committed evils like investigative detention or the so-called intensive interrogation like waterboarding. One Canadian, Omar Carter, is still detained and possibly tortured in Guantanamo Bay without any complaint or acknowledgement by the Canadian government. Is human right really just a fantasy of bleeding heart liberals, or is it just like a utopian universe that does not really reflect the power relation in the world? Are suspect terrorists a new type of people that don't deserve human rights? If the suspect terrorists do not deserve rights, then it's so simple to say another group of people might not deserve human rights. I'm annoyed at religious bigots, and I'm annoyed at people shoving their religious beliefs down people's throats, but I do really have respect for people like the Christian Peacemaker. The Christian Peacemaker team believes that prayer, politics, and pacifism are the moral implication of the faith practiced by Jesus and his followers. If Jesus died for all our sins, I believe Jesus died for the sins of the suspect terrorists as well. I'm not a Christian, but I'm still a bleeding heart liberal, even though I don't believe in Jesus or the Bible. Maybe it's because I have empathy for others. I'm not perfect, but maybe it's just that when I talk to people, I can find pieces of myself when relating to others. There's a saying in South Africa that says, we are people through other people. And human rights is the only way we can restore our own humanity, by honoring the human rights of other people. I know in all my video I sound like a bleeding heart liberal, like I'm all nice and like, oh, you know, everyone should have human rights, and like, of course I'm human and I have my own faults. I mean, you know. Do you think I'm a bleeding heart liberal though?
No, I wouldn't call you a bleeding heart liberal. I think, to me, the definition of a bleeding heart is somebody who would always, who would, like, for example, sympathize with a criminal over a victim, for example. Like, that's a bleeding heart. Somebody who has sympathy for people who don't deserve it. You're not a bleeding heart if you have sympathy for people who deserve it. That's what I think.
Well, it's always easier to talk about human rights when it doesn't directly involve you. Like, if it doesn't directly involve your work, like if you're going to work and someone's protesting and they're making you late for work, I get pissed off at that. You know, even though I respect their right, but I get pissed off and sometimes I don't think they should have a right. So I'm not perfect. I mean, talk about it.
And that's part of like seeing things from other people's point of view too. Is like you you can sympathize sometimes with people and say like, you know, how would we feel if this person was doing this shit to us? You know what I mean? So it goes both ways, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I definitely think like waterboarding and all that stuff are torture, and there's no need for them.
Yeah, I agree.
So I just want to say Dick Cheney is a dick.
Yeah.
He's a dick.
So I just want to say Dick Cheney is a dick. Yeah, he's a dick. North side of the nation, peace the fuck out.